Hey there, and welcome to Rockwall Texas Living, the web's biggest blog on the smallest county in Texas. I am your host, Evan Matteson.
And I'm your co-host, Richard Matteson.
Well, it's a real estate update today.
Yeah.
And we are excited about that.
That's right.
It's the beginning of the year, and so we're just going to dive into the numbers and tell you what's been going on.
All right, we had our first full week in January, and we see that our listings are up a little bit. They were at 506 last week, but now they're back up to 510.
Okay.
Two sales, one on the top, one on the bottom, and that's pretty interesting. Now, this sale was 82.7% of the list price, and what I found out about that was it was an older house, 1975, needed a lot of updating, and so that really affected the final price on it. It's only on the market for 25 days, so that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
And there were 131 showings in that particular
Category.
Okay. Right? Okay. So we don't have any sales over here. We come down to this one, 97.3% for that 400 above. It's a pretty good price area for that, and averaged out at 90, obviously, but and then averaged out at 81. And we've seen the average was 98 days on the market last year. So, and our showings are bouncing back in every category. We've got a good number going on. 464 when it has been down. You know, from Thanksgiving it was 70, and then around Christmas it was 200, I think. But now we're back into kind of routine. Phones are starting to ring a little bit more. Everybody's over their hangover, and looks like the end of the new year has begun.
Well. We're having fun in the office and out on the streets taking some listings this last week. The Matteson group was and is. So real estate's popping out there.
Still there.
Things are going on. 2010 is projected by most of the surveys that I've read, 3 or 4 of them, anywhere from 2010 being a 9 to 14% increase in equity. So that is economists out there basically looking at what's going on in the country, what's going on in our state, and then saying, you know what, Texas is in a really good position, so we are going to forecast some positive increases for equity as people buy and people move into the area and people are able to capitalize on their investment, and so then they move elsewhere, etc. So
let's throw on top of that, the tax credit's still good for another 4 months.
That
$8,000 for a new buyer, never been bought before, or one who is 3 years out and hasn't bought in 3 years.
Absolutely.
And then $6,500 for a person who's selling a house and moving in after they've lived in that house for 5 years. So they're making room for a new buyer to come in. At the same time, they're getting tax credit for that. All the way, you have to have it signed, contracted by the end of April. But
where all the money's coming from, I don't know.
I think that's an overseas bank. Is that right?
No, I think they shut UBS down on some of that stuff. So, but bottom line is things are positioned really well. Everything's kind of coming back a little bit stronger. I think that 2010 is going to be a strong year. Oh, what we have also noticed is leading up to the summer, because summer, there's always a spike of activity, people moving outside of the school schedules. But in the Rockwall, Texas area, we see a pretty good year all year round. Pretty consistent. So normally what we see in the spring and late winter is a spike of activity of some sort in January, a spike of activity in the middle of March, and a spike of activity late April and leading into May as it kind of picks up steam going into the summer. So I imagine that this year, because of the tax credit and that sort of thing, that we probably will see maybe a little spike in April, which is not normal because of the taxes being done and all that kind of stuff at that time. Usually it's a little slower then, but we might see a little bit of a pickup in activity.
First person who reminds us of that in April, you'll get a $5 Starbucks card.
It's coming out of his pocket. It'll be done. So why don't you comment on that in April, and then we look forward to touching base with you here shortly.
Absolutely.
Keeping you informed on real estate in Rockwall and everything that's going on in this area. We'll see you next time.